Good afternoon. It is I, Curtis Selby, your tired midnight blogger who blogs in this case at 1:25 p.m. Against my better judgment and my personal slovenliness, and actually my desire to see Mr. Londell's groovy movies here in a little bit, I decided I wanted to go live. My friends are texting in the background. I probably ought to mute my phone or something. But the long and the short of it is, probably all of you know, one of the subjects near and dear to my heart is censorship. I've always been hopping up and down about that because I think that's the very crux and foundation of liberty, and I think that without it, it does not matter if we have representative government. It does not matter if we have fair, free, and accurately counted elections. Doesn't even matter if we are relatively safe from foreign invasion. If you can't speak freely, you can't think freely. If you can't think freely, then you are truly a slave. I would like to thank the people in the chat. You guys popped up quickly. Gorilla's Random Thoughts, yes. Thank you for getting on to me because I know I've been doing a bad job of getting in late. So I do not mind being held accountable. Thank you for that. And John Pontorio, you are one of the most wonderful and supportive and gracious people. Thank you for showing up. I finally pushed the button at the right time, and no, I hadn't set up a stream. I decided to do this last minute. Basically, I'm either going to do this now or I'm not going to do anything today. So, and it's okay, John. It is wunderbar that you are here. Thank you, whether you are John or whether you're JPRPH1. I'm glad that you're here. I had 5 people and 3 of them dropped off. I must have said something really silly. Okay. Gorilla's Random Thoughts. I literally typed that 10 seconds after you posted it. That's okay, because I've had a bad track record lately, so I would not blame you for anything. I decided to use the rock music instead of the prone music because I really had thought about doing a God talk today and talking about the movies that inspired me and things, but I just there's something digging under my skin, and it's a combination of old news and new news, and hopefully it's relevant to you guys. If not, well, my bad. I guess that is part of why I'm doing this. I've said it before, I say it again. I'm actually really trying to figure out a bunch of this crap. So I'm glad to have a community here of intelligent people to help me figure this stuff out. At the risk of losing my audience, I'm going to start with the old news because I want everyone to understand the background. I want everyone to understand the trail of thinking that got me here. And I'm not quite up to the 8-minute mark, so I'm not going to share anything copyrighted. Instead, I'm going to start, even though it's less fascinating than what I would really like to do, with my old blog. I know I do that a lot. I'm partly, yes, I am self-promoting, but also I'm trying to basically remind myself where I've been and help you guys understand how I've gotten to the point where I'm at. I wrote a post here back in, it doesn't give the date, but this was back in the middle of the disease that shall not be named. If you want, I can show you a quick editing service. StreamYard that has used a clip stuff from live streams. Oh, that actually would be fantastic. Yeah, if you want to share that in the link, or if you, I can't remember if we're on social media or not, because That's just how good I am at managing things. But whichever way you want to share it, I would be happy to learn that and to do that, and so on and so on and so on. You are wunderbar. I always thought gorillas were awesome. So I wrote a post called Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson, Menaces to Society or Just Bad Rappers. You be the judge. Ironically, later on, George McDonald, John McDonald, whatever his name is, Tom McDonald, and Ben Shapiro put out a rap song. I was prescient here. I think Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson would make great rappers too. Tom McDonald, if you're listening, you need to make that happen. Okay, Gorilla's Random Thoughts is on X. Let me make sure that I'm subbed to you. Sorry for all this silence and stuff. Let's do this. I don't want to lose that because I may, if I have time, I will try to share that. Gorilla's Random Thoughts. That's a great name, you know what? Random Thoughts. Okay, hope this is you. I'm going to follow you. And there it is. I think I'm simply on here. Am I on here as Curtis Selby, or am I on here as... Yeah, I'm just simply on here as Curtis W. Selby. So, okay. Let's see. Turn off, view, links, mute, block. I don't want to do that. Okay. Well, I have I've followed you, and hopefully we can get a message pretty soon to each other. But in the meanwhile, I had written on this. I thought I was being very clever here with Jedi mind tricks. Don't work on me, only money. I talked about how I had learned about Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson. I won't go into that because that's really not very fascinating. The reason I did it here is because I had a lot of liberal friends who basically despised these guys. And I was basically trying to justify why I loved them, why I thought that they were intelligent, why I thought they were relevant. Right here, I was talking about the time when CNN was just blasting Joe Rogan. And I'd written a couple of posts on that, and my liberal friends, this is when I started to get angsty toward my liberal friends. This has been brewing in the background for 3 or 4 years now. They acted like I had slandered their mother or something. And I didn't get it. All the guy had said was that he took a particular drug and that he had gotten better on it. And even if you thought that was crazy or stupid or whatever, it baffled me. Why in the world would you have that knee-jerk reaction? I mean, it was like you'd gone to a Christian and said something like really sleazy about Jesus or Mary, Mother of Jesus or something. I totally didn't understand it. I've been trying to figure it out for the last 4 years. I did a quick Google search at the time. Essentially, I was trying to figure out what was going on because CNN was saying that he was crazy. My girlfriend was saying that he was crazy. My best friend was saying that he was crazy. And I just did not get it because the little bit I'd listened to him, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan's perfect or that, everything that he says is great, but he didn't sound like a stupid person to me. He might have sounded a little crazy sometimes, but not outside of the realm of someone that I'd be willing to hang out with or something. So the first site that I had provided by the FDA since the disease erupted, we learned that the FDA has not authorized or approved the medicine. Can't even mention it. Although I'm going to be playing some clips and maybe break that rule anyway, but I'll do that later. This medicine is not approved for human use to treat infections caused by some parasitic worms, head lice, skin conditions like rosacea. Also, even the levels of the medicine for approved human uses can interact with other medications like blood thinners. Now, I want you to understand, I'm not a doctor. Anything I'm relaying here is for educational basically entertainment purposes. I'm not trying to tell you to take this stuff. I'm not trying to tell you that it's good. I'm not trying to tell you that it's bad. I'm just trying to figure it out like the rest of you. You can overdose on the medicine. It can cause nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, hypotension, allergic reactions, dizziness, ataxia, seizures, coma, even death. Last of all, for one thing, animal drugs are often highly concentrated because they are used for large animals like horses and cows, which weigh a lot more than we do, up to a ton or more. Such high doses can be highly toxic in humans. Moreover, the FDA reviews drugs not just for safety and effectiveness of the active ingredients, but also for the inactive ingredients. What I'm trying to say is we were given a long diatribe on the news everywhere by our friends, by the newspapers, on websites, that this was a bad and dangerous thing, that Joe Rogan was a bad and dangerous person for doing it and sharing that he'd done it. The drug was pulled from a lot of markets. A lot of doctors were threatened to have their licenses dropped if they prescribed it. It was a big freaking deal. And then we just kind of forgot about it, sort of. I haven't, though, because I'm just stubborn that way. And Lady V Elements, whose mama am I slandering now? I'm slandering everybody's mama. I'm opening the full can of worms. I'm making bacon without the grease right now. JPRPH1, we compound this at the pharmacy. Yeah, and that's right. You work at a pharmacy. So you can actually tell me. You are an expert in this field. I am not, but you can tell me that it's actually helping, according to our friend here who works at a pharmacy. I can't remember if you're an actual pharmacist or a tech. Either way, though, you're an expert with pharmacists. I don't, I'm not saying that we're going to prescribe things here, but you can throw your weight in with legitimate expertise. He's been compounding with it probably for 10 years before the disease that shall not be named. So, why am I hopping up and down about this? Well, I'm still going to stay in the past. I'm that way. I like to stay in the past. I will just remind you a little bit of what was going on.
It's COVID vaccine skeptics.
It's a completely new kind of vaccine. The idea that people shouldn't be skeptical or nervous about that is kind of hilarious.
Now this morning, Joe Rogan, the mega popular podcaster and UFC commentator, says he tested positive.
I love that photo. That makes him look like an intelligent and good guy. There's no propaganda here.
For COVID.
I got fevers and sweats, and I knew what was going on.
Telling fans on Instagram he got back from taking his show on the road Saturday night. Reportedly, he was in Florida, where COVID cases are setting records. It's unclear whether the 54-year-old has been vaccinated. Rogan also sharing with...
It's unclear whether he has gotten the treatment we are mandating for you. You can see down here, I think, the little nastygram. It's weird. This is their propaganda, and they're still popping it with a little nastygram, letting you know that you, by gosh, better fall into the party line on this. You should not dissent in any way, shape, or form from the party belief. Let's see if there's anything going on. Oh, yes. Yes, exactly, Lady V. The mega popular caster. 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 Yes, exactly, Lady V Sorry, I'm in one of those moods today. Lady V, that is okay. And I'm glad to see you, by the way. I don't know if I said hi properly or not. She's throwing mama to the pit. But I am glad to see you. Hopefully I don't step on your toes in any way, because I know I'm kind of a little bit of a right-winger. And you're not necessarily a right-winger, but you're very intelligent. You're very wonderful. And there it is. Is there anything else? Yes. It goes on.
With his over 13 million followers, that he's taking the drug ivermectin, meant to treat parasites and worms in horses and other animals.
Yeah, I posted that site that they just scrolled up on my blog. Here in a second, I will share another site just for your edification.
Immediately threw the kitchen sink at it. All kinds of meds, monoclonal antibodies, ivermectin.
Despite
Oh no. He said it. He said the word. He said it again.
being unproven as a COVID treatment and dangerous for humans in high doses, ivermectin has received a recent boost from online misinformation, prompting warnings from the FDA and other health officials. The FDA tweeting last month, "You are not a horse, you are not a cow. Serious, y'all, stop it."
Is it just me, or is that really freaking condescending? I mean, just let me know. Maybe I'm being guilty of what they're doing, but I want, I miss the days when the government would send out their information, and number one, you believed, whether you're right or wrong, that it was actually accurate. Number two, you believed, right or wrong, that it was actually being put out there for your benefit. And number three, it was either mildly respectful to your intellect, or if it was not, it was at least bland, dry, and scholarly, so that you could read it and make up your own freaking mind. As far as Fauci, I'm actually not going to bring him up today. Not because I don't want to, but I want to gather some more information about him before I start lobbing missiles at him. Do not get me wrong. I will just admit here that my bias is against the man. The things I have read are not making me like him any better. And not to be cryptic here, but the things that I learned about him, while I learned them after the disease that shall not be named, my source of information predates the disease that shall not be named. And if I was smart, I would just finish the book that I'm reading and share some of that information with y'all. But it's essentially, my head reels when I read it, and I can't really stay focused on it for very long. It makes my heart sick. Thank you very much. You are so kind, Lady V. I'm glad that you enjoy what I do. I hope I'm not as boring as the scholars that I talked about. Figured out how to split screen. Oh, excellent. Gorilla's Random Thoughts. They altered the lighting on that video to make him look sick. Yeah. I mean, it's such obvious. And I don't understand. Don't get me wrong. I know the other side does it too. I do. I don't want to just drink Kool-Aid, and I don't want to try to steer you guys into just, think my way or the highway. But how can you look at that and not see? Lady V Elements, what about those people that identify as a cow or a horse? Excellent point. What if I do identify as a cow or a horse? What business is it of theirs? Lady V, if they fertilize their own shrooms, I'm sure Anthony Fauci fertilizes lots of things. JPRPH1, such misinformation, no journalistic integrity anywhere. Thank you. That's basically what I'm trying to say. We could call it a stream right there, but I'm too full of myself to stop there. I'll at least play one more minute of this and then move on to the next thing.
With millions of listeners and a $100 million licensing deal with Spotify.
How dare he be more successful? How dare he be competitive with our mega corporation with a handful of staffers? He should stay in his lane and stay in his place.
Rogan has influence, setting off a firestorm earlier this year.
And you know what? If he has influence, it's at least partly your damn fault for not being respectful to your audience and not being willing to actually, you are just as much the purveyors of disinformation as the people you condemn, if not more. I would suggest more.
Suggesting healthy younger people didn't need the vaccine.
If you're a healthy person and you're exercising all the time and you're young and you're eating well, like, I don't think you need to worry about this.
Savannah asked Dr. Anthony Fauci for his take on Rogan's comments.
Well, that's incorrect, Savannah.
Young, healthy people should get vaccinated.
Absolutely.
Vaccine proponent Prince Harry, who also...
Okay, now Fauci, fine. You want to claim him as an expert? I'm good with that. Why in the world is a prince being brought into this debate? I mean, maybe he does, but does he have a PhD? Is he a doctor? I don't get what they're doing here, other than trying to deceive us and manipulate us.
Also has an exclusive deal with Spotify, took Rogan to task.
Stay out of it.
And
if you have a platform,
exactly.
with a platform comes responsibility.
Rogan quickly responded to the backlash.
I'm not an anti-vax person. I'm not a doctor. I'm a fucking moron. And I'm a cage fighting commentator. I'm not a respected source of information, even for me.
And this was one of the other things that I didn't understand. If we're intelligent people, we know he's a cage fighter. We know he's a comedian. Why would we be so stupid as to take his word on it and not do our research before we did anything ourselves? But we are stupid, I guess. John just split his screen. Huzzah! And hello, John's Paradise. Hello, I don't know if I properly welcomed you in here before. I'm ranting and raving about old news, but I will hopefully make it relevant soon. Yeah, I thought the same thing, Lady V. I thought that was JPRPH1. I'm just looking too quickly. Oh, hey, that's cool. Thanks for sharing that link, Lady V. Yeah, Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Fauci lost all credibility in the 80s. Again, I don't want to get too deeply into it, but my humble opinion is that you are largely correct. Yes, Lady V, pimp out that gorilla and be careful with that thing. Howdy, DJR Ronnie G. Rogan did, in fact, get the, well, no, he didn't get HIV, but he got the disease that shall not be named. I'm not sure what that means, but that looks really cool, whatever it means. And Connie Cleary, howdy to the bird woman of YouTube. I said I was going to try to make this quick, but I may not, actually. I'm having too much fun. That's not the real link. And DJ Ronnie G, greetings and good afternoon at Connie Cleary. Good to see you. And Lady V Elements, indeed, it is always good to see the people. I think that we've gotten everything out of this particular thing that we really need. They go on. I don't mean to do your thinking for you. If you want to listen to the rest of it, feel free to listen, make up your own minds. I do not think it's worth our time to have any more of that. Happy Sunday to you. I thought about doing a God talk, talking about the movies that influenced me spiritually. But for some reason, some things just stuck in my craw. And so I'm going to share them. And I think I'm going to do this in a different order, though, than I had been. Let me share. I found this at the time I wrote my blog. I posted this in a link on my blog. because I basically I posted the link to the government saying that the disease treatment was not a good treatment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then I did a little, not even much, just a very little bit of research, and I found this article from the National Institute of Health. I can't remember when. Oh, yes, here it is, February 10, 2011. So granted, it's about a decade almost before the disease that shall not be named. But having said that, I think it's relevant to shed light on what the heck's going on. Ivermectin. This is the National Institute of Health. This is the government. This is about as official as it freaking gets. Just a few years before, ivermectin, wonder drug from Japan. Yeah, I said the word. Oh, what dark times we live in, when men may say ivermectin without pause to ladies. The wonder drug from Japan, the human use perspective. Discovered in the late 70s, the pioneering drug ivermectin, a dehydroderivative of avermectin, originating solely from a single microorganism isolated at the Kitasato Institute, Tokyo, has had an immeasurably beneficial impact in improving the lives and welfare of billions of people throughout the world. This wasn't reported on CNN. Originally introduced as a veterinary drug, it kills a wide range of internal and external parasites in commercial livestock and companion animals. It was quickly discovered to be ideal in combating two of the world's most devastating and disfiguring diseases, which have plagued the world's poor throughout the tropics for centuries. It is now being used free of charge as the sole tool in campaigns to eliminate both diseases globally. It has been used to successfully overcome several other human diseases, and new uses for it are continually being found. This paper looks in depth at the events surrounding ivermectin's passage from being a huge success in animal health into its widespread use in humans, a development which has led many to describe it as a wonder drug. To my knowledge, I'm the only one that ever shared this article anywhere. Now, maybe somebody else did, but CNN didn't. ESPN, Reuters didn't. BBC didn't. I know, I looked, unless they've shared it recently. Fox didn't. I don't even think freaking Alex Jones did. Maybe. I didn't really look that deeply in him. Why was this never shared? Why didn't somebody do some fact checking and say, hey, look, no, he's not a doctor, but if I'm Joe Rogan and I read this article and I've got the freaking disease that shall not be named, can I be blamed for going to my doctor and saying, hey, would it be legit to try that? And if his doctor said, yeah, it would be legit, why would he not do it? I'm just asking. Lady V Elements, gov.gag. DJ Ronnie G, I bought a bunch of the apple flavored horse stuff after they made it difficult to get the human stuff. Yeah, no, I understand. I totally understand. Look, the truth is, we all know, in spite of what my liberal friends say, the debate was not had. It was just suppressed. This is why I hop up and down about it. I know my liberal friends are like, when I tried to share this article with them, they reacted with a coolness and a distance that I'd never experienced from them before. And to this day, I do not understand it. I don't understand. Okay, first, what did Joe Rogan do that was so wrong? Second, personally, what did I do that was so wrong? All I did was try to defend someone that I thought was someone that I cared, even in a distant way. I mean, I'm not tight with Joe Rogan, but I loved some of his stuff. And I just have that foolish instinct to defend the people I love. And then I shared something from the government. They wouldn't read it. They wouldn't even read it. I don't get it. I don't get it. While the disease was going on, there was a lot of fear, a lot of terror. I've got to admit, I didn't hardly feel a damn thing through the whole thing. Not to be melodramatic, but the way my life has gone, I'm going to be honest, that year was probably one of the best. It was one of the easiest of my life, not the best. It's definitely not the best because my son ended up having some issues. So it was actually very terrible. But you know what? To the rest of the world was, oh my God, how are we going to survive? Was to me Tuesday. So I think that's part of why I did not understand. Why are we hopping up and down? Why are we suppressing things? Why are we acting like it's the end of the world? And don't get me wrong. I don't want to go too far the other way. I do think it was a legitimate thing that something was happening. I think it's terrible that people lost their lives. I'm never happy, I'm never happy about that, and except maybe in the case of Mustache Man. Gorilla's random thoughts. I feel discriminated against, and I'll be blunt, so do I. And what baffles me is I bent over backwards for years to be centrist, and it wasn't good enough. Just being fair or trying to be fair was not good enough. I had to accept the party line, and I had to condemn the opposition. And at the time I wrote this, that's really all I was doing, was not condemning the opposition. But that wasn't good enough. Gorilla's random thoughts, as myself, felt discriminated against. He tried like hell to get it so he could have 2 weeks off paid. Never could get it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. There's a reason why I'm sharing this site. The big justification for all of this stuff, because, even though I'm kind of doing it, it is a little bit unfair for me to point out the hypocrisy of their manipulations and then do too much manipulation myself. We were basically told, I remember like a report that we had the 5th deadliest day or something like that. That, we had days that were more deadly than 9/11, that there were bodies in New York. I'm not wanting to deny any of that. But the thing that always, one of the litmus tests that I use when I look at things is my very limited knowledge of history. And to me, the things we were doing could only possibly be justified. And I'm not saying necessarily so, but possibly, if this literally compared to the Black Death, or at the very least, the flu, the Spanish flu of 1918. And we were told, we were assured that yes, the numbers, it might not have equaled the Black Death, but I remember being told that this was just as bad, just as terrible as the Spanish flu. I would point out the mass graves, and I would be told, well, we've got boxcars full of bodies in New York. I mean, it didn't matter what I came up with. It was always silenced. I think that's why I'm so vociferous now. If you'd have let me say my piece back then, I would be shutting the fuck up now. But how far back in the chat have I got? DJ Ronnie G, the morgues were backed up, but people weren't keeling over in the street. There were lines wrapping around the block near Elmhurst Hospital in Queens, but who the hell goes to that hospital for a flu? That's more than I know. I will rely on your knowledge on that. Gorillas, what if it was airborne Ebola? Ooh, that is a scary thought. DJ Ronnie G, I get that some people needed to go. Yeah, no, 100%. I'm not trying to say that people didn't have legitimate fears and that people didn't have legitimate worries. And I'm actually not, I'm upset with my friends, but not with like them wanting to get vaccinations. I'm not upset with them wanting to wear masks. I'm not upset with them wanting me to do that. What I'm upset with is the government and the big media telling my friends all these things, manipulating my friends' emotions, and leading them down a path that I think is very dark. Gorilla's Random Thoughts. DJ, the Janet Center was at 30% capacity. Really? See, we were reported, the reports I remember reading, and I'm not arguing with you here. I'm not. Nor am I saying that you're right, because I don't know. But it's interesting, if that is true, the reports that I was getting was that all the beds are to capacity. There's no room in the hospital. Bodies are piling up like cordwood. The USS Mercy only used one bed. See, this is stuff I was never reported. And again, I know you're not a reporter, not to call you out, but you know, I'm not saying that you're as accurate a source as can be, but at the same time, your experience is valid. I am not going to gaslight you either. Wherever you read that, wherever you saw that, that's your experience. And I'm not going to challenge it. I'm not going to debate it. I'm just going to say, I don't know. Because that's all you should say. DJ Ronnie G, great examples. Thoughts I remember articles trying to blame Trump for the hospital ship underutilization. I remember that full well. And this was actually at a time when I was upset with Trump, but I still was scratching my head. DJ Ronnie G, I remember the article having its headline changed midday because the first headline was an outright lie. And I see, here's the deal. One, I'm not going to gaslight you, but two, I believe you. Even if you got the facts wrong, I am going to assume that it's because the facts were wrong in the article. And we have seen, if nothing else, we've seen with the reporting of the Trump attempted assassination, we have seen that they do these things. We can't deny that anymore unless we're just going to completely trade in our intellectual honesty. Again, this is not to tell you to vote for Trump. If you're voting for Kamala, God bless and be my guest. But please keep your eyes open to what the media is doing. Connie, clearly they over-embellish the numbers. See, I'm not going to quite go there, although I agree with you, and I actually wrote about that too. But I have a point I want to make here. So we were told that this was a bad thing, and the things I was told, it was as bad, not nearly as bad, not comparably bad, but as bad as the Spanish flu. Troy Pacelli likes to tell us to keep physical media. I'm about to give you an example of why you want to do that. But I'm going to start with the digital media, CNN, January 28, 2021. January has been the deadliest month for the disease that cannot be named, with nearly 80,000 lives lost so far in the U.S. Number one, I don't want to poo-poo. I'm sorry that all those lives were lost. Number two, my point here is not to argue with those numbers. I may do that at a later point, but at this point, I'm going to take these numbers at face value because that's not the point I'm trying to make. 80,000 lives. I'm going to admit that's a hellacious number of lives. That is comparable to wars, things like that. But I was reading the other day, because I'm a silly person and I do that. I have a biography of JFK. And JFK was a toddler back in the time of the Spanish flu. And let me make sure I've got my stuff accurate. I don't think he caught the flu, but he caught something else, I think. Or maybe he did catch the flu. But the point I'm trying to make is, I thought it was very interesting, the statistics I was reading. Remember, this is the worst, as far as I can find, this is the worst month of the disease that shall not be named. If I'm inaccurate, my apologies, because I'm just a tired blogger. But the flu started to be noticed in the winter of 1918. In September, the disease rampaged down the east coast of the United States from Boston to New York to Baltimore and beyond. That month, more than 12,000 Americans perished. So, 80,000 is quite a bit more than 12,000. I'm thinking, oh, hell, they were right. It is just as bad. By October, so just a month has gone by, the pandemic reached maximum ferocity, hitting almost every corner of the world. In the United States that month, so again, now we've got accurate, side-by-side numbers, worst month of that pandemic in the United States versus worst month of the other. 200,000 persons perished. So that's more than double. And we have to remember the population then was significantly lower. So were there mask mandates back then? There were in certain cities. I don't know. I may be wrong, but I don't think it was nationwide, but there were in certain cities. There were mass graves. See, all those things that we trumped up and fabricated were real back then. And they still didn't do this horse shit. I'm just putting that out there. If you want to do your research, feel free, prove me wrong. I could easily be wrong, and I will own up to it if I am. Lady V Elements, the hospitals received funding by the head if they labeled it. Yeah, that's another thing that kind of peeved me off. I won't go into it here, and I can't. I don't want to verify it here, but I know a friend of mine suggested that the number of unnamed disease deaths was awfully similar to the drop in the number of flu deaths that were reported the same year. If that's true, that's interesting. It makes you wonder, why would that be? Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Sources are Tim Pool, Glenn Beck, We Are Change, Stephen Crowded, and Don't Walk Run Productions. I have listened to Glenn Beck. I've kind of have a love-hate thing with him. Sometimes I love what I hear from him. Sometimes I just want to be sad. But I respect him. I respect him, and I respect anyone that will use him as a source. I absolutely do. Connie says if someone is an accident, died of other things, they would be labeled as the disease that cannot be named. This way they could get money from it. Yeah. I've gone longer than I wanted to. I won't get everything done, but I'm going to share just one more thing. And this is the whole reason why I decided to do this post. I know one of my most viewed live streams was my live stream about Brett Weinstein. And I know I said I would never do one about him again. So if you want to call me out for going against my word, I totally get it. I probably deserve it. But one, it was mostly one person who was hopping up and down about not liking Weinstein, and that person no longer shows up here. And between y'all and me and the fence post, I'm actually okay that they don't. I hope they're okay. I hope they're happy. But I really, while I don't mind being corrected, I don't mind being challenged. Sometimes I just want to do a damn podcast and not be told how to do it every 5 minutes. So I'm okay with that person not being around. However, Lady V Elements, I was missing you quite a bit, and I'm glad that you are around at the moment. Some of the elderly actually croaked from pneumonia. Others had lung respiratory related issues, common in old age. They really milked it like a golden cow. See, and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think you're conservative. Maybe I'm wrong. I think you're like a little bit left of center. And that's why I love that you can see that. You know, you're not blinded by simple politics. And this is one of the reasons why I've been trying desperately hard to use sources that weren't conservative. Nothing against Glenn Beck or any of those, but my friends will just look at me and say, well, of course they're going to say that they're against all the narrative. Oh, you're so kind, Lady V. I'm just going to be in my happy place for a second or two. But I know that, I know your life has also had maybe some changes. And whatever you're going through, whatever you're doing, I'm supportive of you. And I hope the good guys win, whoever the hell that happens to be. Gorilla's Random Thoughts. I don't know how many of you guys listen to Bird of Prey 5. He might be heading home tomorrow. I do not know who that is. Technically non-political. No, I get that. And as I think y'all know, I've bent over backward to be a centrist for years. I went from a centrist teenager to a right-winger to a centrist, and now I'm just kind of sad. I don't really know what I am. Okay, so whoever Bird of Prey 5 is, it's great news. He's coming home. Adulting sucks, and I want to redo. Life is a lemon, and I want my money back. And if I could do it, that would be the theme song of this show. But anyway, I was on X the other day, and I'm afraid I've become a little bit addicted to X. This is probably controversial, but it's okay if you do not, but I am learning to love Elon Musk. That's probably bad and dangerous because I've learned the hard way. You learn to heroize someone and they invariably let you down. But just the fact that there is a platform out there that I can go to and I can say almost, not quite, but almost any damn thing I want on any political or social perspective, as long as I don't insult someone or threaten someone or I can just Elon needs more babies. I looked it up today. He has about 11, and Lady V might tow me. Oh, I'm not going to say what's in my head. That would just get me in trouble. So Weinstein is out there. When I say that, I mean, he probably is out there like psychologically too, but I'm seeing him more and more in the blog spaces. I'm loving him because here is an intelligent, classical liberal. A lot of things. I need to do more research to kind of straw man him because I've been steel manning him, and that's not necessarily fair. But he's saying the things I've been wanting to say for 4 years, and he seems to be getting away with it. So I caught this on X, and I thought I would share it.
I have started to make headway with people who bought the PSYOP, especially on ivermectin, with the following argument, which none of this is new. But when people I know are getting sick with this, and I say, have you taken ivermectin?
I'm impressed because even on YouTube, he's been able to say it and they haven't dinged him. And if I had a little more time, I would share some of that. But after this, I'm going to call it a stream and go listen to Mr. Lundell talk about the paranormal.
And they say no. I say, look, ivermectin works with almost all, or maybe it's all RNA viruses. It would be surprising if it.
Now, I know almost nothing about RNA viruses. The book that I am quasi reading about Anthony Fauci being a big poop head, dodo head is where I am learning the limited amount that I quote unquote know about RNA. And I want to say it's XMRV or something like that, viruses. It's one of the reasons why I'm actually listening to him, because he's using phrases that I at least believe to be scholarly valid. And that's more than I feel like I got from CNN, NPR, or MOUSE.
Didn't work for COVID. But even if it didn't, the benefit that comes from simply at the moment that you become sick with something that is likely to be caused by an RNA virus, hitting it with this stuff, which dramatically reduces the length of the course of disease and the amount of damage that it does, is a good precaution, right? The number, even little colds and things are often RNA based.
Right.
So it is it's the opposite of the 1-bit PSYOP. It's the 1-bit insight. The insight is, look, you are living in a world in which there are lots of RNA viruses, and they happen to react to ivermectin for reasons that we don't yet know, but you don't need to know. The drug is safe enough that you probably ought to take it as a precaution at the point that you find yourself getting sick, because if you can reduce the amount of sickness, you reduce the amount of damage, the amount of time that you're sidelined from your life.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's actually a silver lining of all of this, that a drug that many of us had not considered before. Now.
Well, yeah, we hadn't considered it before Joe Rogan brought it up anyway, but then he was condemned for it.
Keep on hand, because it's useful against so many things and it's so safe.
Yep. Now, of course, people, who knows, people vary. Maybe there are people for whom it has a negative implication. You should proceed with caution. And if you have a doctor who's not insane, you probably ought to consult them. But nonetheless, the idea that there is a tool in our toolkit that they are not recommending that is much safer than anything they are recommending, and frankly, Paxlovid, my God, this is like a biological nuclear weapon used in lieu of a fire extinguisher, right? The disruption to normal biological processes is so great. And the idea that you would go after a virus that, look, I'm not going to underrate the problem of this virus, because even if an individual case tends to be mild.
And yes, John Paradisi, I do. Let me get that for you. And let's face it, I probably should have been smart enough to leave links for the other stuff too. I will also, I will leave you a link to my piece of work, which is not, hopefully it's worth your time, but if you're going to skip anything, this would be the thing you'd want to skip. Control F. Joe Rogan. Oh, it doesn't want to search for Joe Rogan now. Interesting. I am sorry for all the silence. You are seeing why I'm not a big mainstream person like Joe Rogan. To be fair, though, he does have a staff. But even with all that considered, I think he would still be more talented than me. 5 Braveheart practices. No, that's not it. Where is the stuff I wrote about? I don't know why it won't let me search. Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson. Here we go. If you just feel like reading that, if you don't, that's okay too. But the X video is definitely worth sharing, in my humble opinion. And this next little bit is, I think, should be plastered every freaking where in the planet, because it just angers me that, one, it hasn't been shared, and number two, I was just labeled an idiot for sharing it. So please, by all means, if you don't make this video viral, make that article viral, because people need to know we're being lied to. We got to keep this information published. Man, I'm so far behind in the chat. Okay, let me get caught up here. Elon needs more babies. Lady V Elements is volunteering. I guess I will say this much. It's good to be Elon Musk. Okay. John Paradise, we're still at risk for government and mainstream media to pull another one. Yeah, well, I think we're all a little bit worried about it with the rattling of their sabers with the monkeypox. And I think that's one of the reasons why that's, I mean, I don't want us to fall for this again. You know, maybe my liberal friends are going to, and maybe there's no help or hope for them. I don't know. But there's help and hope for you guys. You know, one, you're listening to me, and that's great. But two, hopefully you're also going to research this stuff and find out where I'm wrong. Don't just take my word for any of this. And please respectfully correct me. It wasn't the fact that other person was correcting me. It was just I felt so freaking disrespected, and that ain't cool. So yeah, there's shared the links below. Paxlovid is just a money grab for Pfizer and Merck. Hell, I've said it so many times. If they're going to ding me, they're going to ding me. Ivermectin actually works, in my opinion. And see, I did not know. I had grown up on a farm. I knew it was used for cattle, but I honestly didn't know any. You know, I all I had was CNN and NPR and all these people telling me that Joe Rogan was a big poop head, dodo head. That's all I knew. And then I talked to another friend of mine. Guy has a freaking 150 IQ. He's amazing. And he told me, hey, look, ivermectin's cool stuff. I don't know why they're nailing him on this. So I did my own research. I found that article. I don't understand why more people haven't found it. I don't understand why it hasn't been part of the reporting. Back in the old day, it would have been a basic part of the reporting because you were shown both sides. That's not done anymore. Lady V Elements, we got to keep this information published. Even the speculations when presented, because it's getting washed from the internet every day. Yeah, and that's another thing that scared me, because some of the stuff I used to post, I don't share it anymore because it's gone. And I'm actually surprised that website's still up, and it wouldn't surprise me if it disappeared if we did make it viral. So I don't own a printer. Well, actually I do. It just doesn't work. So guys, do me another favor. Print out copies. Keep them so that we know, so we have proof that they're lying to us. And Enigma Severus, hello. Sorry, I did a last minute thing because I'm wacko crazy. Thank you for showing up and being so supportive, and for preparing for the dark days ahead, and for being a wonderful teacher of children and a great proponent of C.S. Lewis. Good on you. Sorry, I've been doing meal prep, folding clothes, now planning to go work out. Yeah, I'm here in a bit. I'm going to go listen to Mr. Londell and probably do some laundry myself. Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Pause you. Phone is charging. I have to go get clothes off the line. Right on. I don't have any theories. I'm just sharing wackiness. I guess I'll get you caught up fairly quickly. I was reminding people of the insanity, of the thing that was happening when Joe Rogan took ivermectin to cure the disease that shall not be named. And a lot of people were very upset with him. And I shared with the community a National Institute of Health article that basically, I mean, heck, I have it back up. I'll gloss over it a little bit again. The title of the article, let me get it shared in the stream so that you can see it yourself. Sorry for those of you who've already seen it. I won't read the whole thing or go over it very quickly, but just for the benefit of Enigma Severus, because I know he will, if he doesn't already know it, he will make good hash with this information. The article is from the National Institute of Health. So this is not a fly-by-night organization, depending on your definition. This isn't some anti-government, some conspiratorial thing. This is not from Tucker Carlson. This is not from Glenn Beck. This is not from the right wing. This is our government from February 2011. Ivermectin, wonder drug from Japan. The human use perspective. Discovered in the late 70s, the pioneering drug ivermectin has had an immeasurably beneficial impact in improving the lives and welfare of billions of people throughout the world. I'm not making this up. I'm not exaggerating. These are the words they use. Originally introduced as a veterinary drug, it kills a wide range of internal and external parasites in commercial livestock and companion animals. It was quickly discovered to be ideal in combating two of the world's most devastating and disfiguring diseases. In the introduction, they say there are few drugs that can seriously lay claim to the title of wonder drug, penicillin and aspirin being two that have perhaps had greatest beneficial impact on the health and well-being of mankind. But ivermectin can also be considered alongside those worthy contenders based on its versatility, safety, and the beneficial impact that it has had and continues to have worldwide, especially on hundreds of millions of the world's poorest people. They did not say horses. They did not say cattle. They said people. Several extensive reports, including reviews authored by us, again, National Institute of Health. Who are the actual authors here? I can't even read that. I need my glasses. But some spiffy professor here wrote this. I almost wish I had pulled this from a conspiracy theory site. The reason I'm bringing all this up, one, you need to know it. Two, I think it's actually kind of a fascinating article. Please, by all means, read it yourself. Number three, why in the holy hell has this not been reported from the rooftops? I get that. I get CNN, MSNBC, the usual suspects. They have their narrative. Why did nobody else report this? I did on my little fly-by-night blog that nobody reads 4 years ago. If I can frickin' find this, surely these reporters with their 60, 80, six-figure salaries have the resources to find it too. Why wasn't it shared? Why wasn't it part of the debate? Why wasn't the debate had? Why, when I talk to my liberal friends that about people who have tried to debate it, have they just said that no, that debate has been had and won? Respectfully, I would maybe listen to you if I heard a debate with this article as part of the debate. I haven't heard a debate with this article listed. Even the few that I consider legit, this is never brought up. John Paradise lives in paradise. Lady V, Gorilla has unvaxxed swimmers. Ooh, and does the laundry. Be still, your beating heart, Lady V. Connie Clary, give it time. Government will pull that crap again. John Paradise, thank you. Slowness is relaxing. JPRPH1, Pennsylvania is next door to heaven. Enigma Severus. Let's be honest. We as a human species have always had powers that, I'm not sure I understand, have always had powers that can be used for their people as experiments and purposely do specific things to instill fear into everyone. This is a Tuesday for the powers that be. This is normal. And like the movie's Edge of Darkness, yeah, it's a great movie. There are those who have careers in making sure that evidences A will never prove the truth towards what is assumed. No, you're not wrong. Lady V Elements, how else are we to learn of human anatomy? We got to experiment, push the boundaries. But there's a line of morality not to cross, and that includes those who want to play God. Yeah, right on. I will finish the Dark Horse podcast thing. It's tempting to read more of that article, but please, I know the link's in the chat. If you need it again, I'll be happy to share it again. Please spread that thing around. Even if you don't spread my podcast around, spread that article around everywhere. Print it out. Make sure there's physical evidence. So when they try to lie and say that they never said that there's never any evidence like that, you have it in your hot little hands.
We've been saying this from the beginning. There's something weird about the number of times people are getting sick with the same thing. Right? That is not normal. And frankly, from my work in graduate school on telomeres, that has a direct implication, and it's obvious.
Graduate work in telomeres. He's an obvious hack.
Every time you get sick, you are burning some of your lifetime capacity to repair your tissues, right? You may get sick
from anything. You're not talking about COVID specifically, from anything.
Anything. Yeah. Anything. And so the point is, let's compare it to flu. Okay. Let's say that COVID is on average a case of COVID is on average a quarter as bad as a case of flu. I don't know if that number is true or not. But if you get it 10 times for every one time you get the flu, it's way worse because the amount of cumulative damage that you're doing is more. And so when we talk about this, people are so interested in moving on. They think the question of laboratory origin is ancient history. They think
we've had the debate, and the debate's already over, and a particular side won the debate. So, yeah, this is all old news. Nothing to see here, citizen. Go on about your life. Own nothing. Be happy.
Ivermectin is
Has anybody done that song? Own nothing. Be happy. I'm sure somebody has. If I've thought of it, somebody else has.
Done deal. It's a battle that's, over. And the answer is no. You're not done getting this thing. Where it came from is therefore very important because, frankly, somebody seems to have released something into the world from which you are going to spend, months of your life sidelined unless you override their advice not to take certain very safe, highly effective anti-RNA virus drugs. So, this couldn't be more live, right?
Right.
If COVID had disappeared, if the phenomenon was gone, then I would understand people's resistance to investigating this stuff.
And that is another thing. And Grant, if you're into saying that this is all a bunch of conspiracy theory stuff, he's already said enough there. I almost guarantee my liberal friends would listen to the last 20 seconds of that and just disregard everything else that he says. And Lady V, it's so tempting to say something inappropriate, but I'm going to be good. I'm going to be good. I'm going to be good this time. Okay. But I wish I had time because he's got so much more. I'm going to share that as well. The stuff that I have, I'm not going to get to, at least in this post. And Lady V, most conspiracies have been proven fact within 5 to 10 years. It does seem like an uncomfortable number of them have. These are the two things that I wanted to get to. Unless y'all just insist, though, I'm going to call it a stream after this video. So let me know in the chat if more than 2 or 3 of you want to continue, I will. Otherwise, I'll finish this video, make a few pointless comments, and thank you all and call it a stream.
In light of the fact that it is apparently alive and well and circulating on planet Earth and has people sick in a season when typically people are not sick, right? Wake up and realize, the advice you are being given sucks completely. And all you need to do is a small amount of research to see how far off it is.
And again, this is This is not Glenn Beck, with all respect.
I have started to make headway with people.
It's a classical liberal. Until recently, he did not say pro-Trump things at all, rather like someone else that you know. He's just trying to get at the truth, and you don't necessarily have to agree with him. I know that there are videos out there that say that he's crazy. I need to listen to them so that I can do a more fair assessment. So maybe there is something I'm missing. But I don't want to keep old wounds open. Don't get me wrong. And I also don't want us to start hating on liberals at all. We need to come together. You know, whether we vote for the same person or not, we need to come together, because all the division, all the hate, people actually literally shooting at each other, that's all bullshit. Lady V enjoyed this afternoon show. I'm glad, and I hope you do catch more of them. I promise I'm trying to make it worth y'all's while. I know I need to make lots of improvements, but I try very hard to help make sure that you hopefully learn something and hopefully get a little bit of entertainment out of it. Yeah, no, it is good to see Lady V. I don't know a lot about why you've kind of taken a hiatus. I'm not meaning to put you on the spot, but you've been missed, and we'll leave it at that. And you are loved here, and I want this. I hope that this is a good, safe place for you. And if you don't feel that it is, please let me know so that I can do what I can to correct that. I love you guys. Okay. I'm going to give it maybe a minute or two to see if there's anyone else who wants to hear any more, share any more. And then I'm going to start the soft prone music, thank everybody, and call it a stream. While I'm giving you guys some time to speak, basically I'm just saying, if you want to continue, go ahead and let me know. If you don't, silence is good. I'll call it good here in just a second. I remember at the time when I wrote the article that what originally encapsulated my seminal thinking on this issue. I was getting dressed. After January 6th, I actually did listen to CNN for about a year or so. Absolutely, Lady V. All will be good regardless. Thank you very much, Connie Cleary and Enigma Severus. Okay, my peeps, I'll be doing my workout. Trying to land a job where they play soft corn music in the back. Well, you know, you could always just play the beginnings and endings of my podcasts on loops. I am gonna call it a stream, but I'll end with one anecdote. I remember they were hopping up and down about a podcast where Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson were talking, and frankly, they were just bullshitting online. They weren't even saying anything specifically interesting, but they reamed those two guys because they were talking about climate change. And well, they were saying the wrong things about climate change. And again, in my stupidity, I tried to defend them. I was like, well, Joe Rogan's a comedian, so it's possible he'll say something wrong about it. And Jordan Peterson, while he does have a PhD, climate change is it's outside of his realm of expertise, so it's possible he's saying something wrong. But in the context of just having a conversation, isn't it okay to voice opinions? And if they're wrong, we're intelligent enough to know, oh, no, they shouldn't be saying that stuff with so much influence, so many people in the audience, and they're so wrong. And I'm like, what the hell? when did this happen? When did this world become a place where if you make a mistake, you're not to be forgiven? If you don't, if you don't know the exact accurate science, but I think it's interesting that we're only told one stream of thought is accurate. Yeah, there are times when my browser history has a little bit of enigma. Lady V said we had to practice and push the limits with the body. Gosh, now I can't practice it. All right. But it began then. I just wondered, how have we gotten to this place? How have my friends gotten to this place? And what is there that we can do about it? Not sure if I know, but y'all have a little bit of information. I'm not saying that you should or should not take ivermectin, but I am saying that to be truly scientific, we've got to have all the information. And one big piece of information was neglected, ignored, just pretended like it wasn't even there, even though it's from a very similar source. Yeah, filthy's not necessarily bad practice. All right, time for the soft prone. I'm going to be late to the place where I was wanting to go, but I had a really good time, and I hope everyone else did too. And I hope, again, that if nothing else, that one article was worth your time. Please read it, and please share it to anyone that you think will listen. And don't cast your pearls before swine. If you think someone won't listen, don't share it. I've given up trying to share it with my liberal friends. If you're not going to listen, you're not going to listen. Thank you very much for showing up and being supportive, listening to my random railings and rantings. Gorilla's Random Thoughts, thank you very much. John Pontorio, I probably mispronounced your name very badly. The very supportive, musically talented, very knowledgeable about music, JPRPH1. Someday we need to get together and figure out how to talk about the poetry of modern music. But all in good time. I don't mean to put you on the spot. Lady V Elements, we be slandering now. I'm glad you're showing back up again. Thank you so much. Again, not to put you on the spot. If you disappear for whatever reasons you may have, that's your right. You'll just simply be missed. Connie Cleary, thank you so much. Moderate the heck out of them, folks, and keep sharing those bird videos. They're so fun and so cute. And John Paradise, thank you for showing up here, and I'm so glad that I believe you had a good time. I hope so. Please feel free to come back again. I'm trying to get better at actually scheduling things. I do intend to do a stream tomorrow and Thursday, and then some random time to be determined in the weekend. I've got to get all this stuff down. I've got to figure it all out. Streaming is so fun, but I'm still new enough that there's a lot of kinks in the hose. Thank you very much also for showing up and being supportive and commenting. DJ Ronnie G taught me some stuff about the Hawaii situation. I'm glad that I learned it. Thank you. Who am I missing? I know I'm missing somebody. There's always somebody. Enigma Severus, of course. Thank you so much for your support, your kindness, your knowledge, all the things that you share. There's so many people in this community I'm glad I've quote unquote met. You're definitely one of them. Thank you so much. And I think I do have everybody now. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. You're very kind. Yeah, we have the prone music. Keep the shiz up. Thank you very much. Lady V, yeah, sometimes I go into hermit mode too. It's one of the things it's one of the challenges of deciding to be a streamer. There are definitely plenty of days when I just want to crawl into a corner with a book and coffee and just pretend nothing exists but my dog. I am new to streaming, but I'm learning as I can. I'm trying to learn from everybody that I can, and I love you guys. All right. So, my tagline, I borrow it from other people, but there it is. We all know that life is pain. We all know that anyone that tells you anything else is trying to sell you something. And I want to assure you, I am trying to sell you something. I'm trying to sell you on the idea that liberty is better than tyranny, that freedom is better than slavery, that you are intelligent and capable enough to run your own life. You should only submit to authority that you believe is legitimate and has your best interests at heart. You should not submit to tyrants. And lastly, know that you are not going crazy. You're going insane in a world that's gone crazy. Thank you very much for your time. I went way the hell longer than I meant to, but I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. And if you're still there, Enigma, have a wonderful workout. See yous later.